It is 6:15 in the morning, and I'm waiting for my esports kids to show up so we can go to state. I figured the best way to end the first season of the Esports Classroom podcast would be to kind of describe what happens. How does the season work for us in Iowa from start to finish? Well, today's the finish for our Rocket League season, as we are going to be heading off to the state tournament. A team finished regular season 4-3, won the playoff game easily 4-0, and now we are going to go to state tournament to face the best teams in the state. There's a lot that goes into this. I'm going to explain that all, but I want to kind of give the fact that, just like every other activity, the kids have to be here early. It's dark out. It's cold out. So you can see the lovely snow behind me. But we're about to get started and get going. Well, welcome again to episode 23 of the Esports Classroom podcast. This is going to be the last episode of season 1 of this podcast. My main goal going into this is to share out perspectives and positive stories and roadblocks you've seen from esports coaches at the high school and college level, players themselves, and others involved, and people running the state organizations. 23rd episode I thought was a good time since we're a week removed from the intro of this video, where we went to the state tournament with our Rocket League team. I thought I'd talk about what is the anatomy of a season. How do you get started? How's the season flows? How do you get to the end? And all those little things in between. So I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit. And again, I'm playing, our team competes as part of the Iowa High School Esports Association. We have 3 seasons: fall, winter, and spring. In the fall, typically Smash Brothers and Rainbow Six. We don't play Rainbow Six because it's a mature title. I haven't gotten my school board on board with that yet, or my admin. The winter time, we play I'm jumping ahead. We play Rocket League and Overwatch, and we talk a lot about the Rocket League season. And then in the springtime, we have Mario Kart, Valorant, and a shortened season of Marvel Rivals that we're trying this year. When I got to Ames 4 years ago, I knew I was going to start the program. I'd been coaching the 2 previous years, helping me start the program in Nevada High School. Coming to Ames High School, where I'd been previously, I'm like, we're going to start the program. We're going to join this league. There are some things I had to do. One, I had to make an application to the league. I could make sure my admin were on board, including my activities director. Oftentimes, it means also I had to make sure my school board and my superintendent are on board, especially if there's any funding needs, but also because some people have very different perspectives about esports, and they may have a negative view of it ahead of time. Once you have everybody on board, you also got to make sure you have the students interested. So we send out surveys to the kids, say, hey, here's some of the titles we can play this year. Who's interested? Would you like to play? Of course, I saw high interest. But interest doesn't always equate to numbers of people who are playing, but at least if I have like double the interest of what I need minimum, I'm ready to go forward with the season. So we applied to the league, and we decided that winter season was going to be our first season. We played Overwatch that first time, and every season it kind of worked the same. Before the season starts, I send a survey out to all students through their email. We put it in the daily announcements, which are right overhead, and I put it on our digital signage that's around the school. And if I had a previous season of esports, I'll send it out through that season's Google Classroom. Once I have that form set, I see who's interested. Do I have enough players? Then we go and sign up for it through the league. We use League OS at the Iowa High School Esports Association, which is a good way for us to keep track of our scores. We register for seasons. We get to see all the teams on there. We see who the players are. It's the way we keep track of everything, including the postseason. So I say, yes, we're going to meet. And then I set that first meeting. And the first meeting is important because I need to see who's going to show up. So that tells me not just interest, but actually are willing to come in. I'll see how many returners we have, how many new kids we have. New kids have really got to explain, hey, okay, you're playing your console at home, but now I'm having you play on PC. Or you're playing in your basement at home. Now you're playing in a group with other people. These are the rules of how we do things. This is how practices run. This is how the season is run. And this is how we get to the end. Here are my expectations. You got to be in school. You got to be eligible. It means you got to be passing your classes. And this is the behavior I expect at practices, because this isn't at home playing in your basement. This is at school, part of a team. We're here to learn and grow as a team. Even on some of those individual titles like Mario Kart and Smash are kind of more individual. You're playing as part of a team. Mario Kart, since you got 4 people going at once on a team, there's a lot of things we still got to work at. And yes, you need to be fast, but there's some other things to that. Even with Smash, there are things you can learn. Oftentimes we get the casual players, and you have the kids who put so much time and effort in. They know every little strat with that. They know the names of all the different types of moves you can do. They're training the other kids on how to do this. So as a team, you get better. So we do this intro meeting to explain how esports is different than playing video games at home, and then we set up the season. So I set up a weekly practice schedule, and typically we practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday after school. Our school gets out at 3:35, so we'll practice until about 5 o'clock. Knowing that some matches, which typically take place at 4 o'clock, they are done before five. Games like Overwatch and Valorant, and I expect Marvel Rivals is going to be the same. They run well past five oftentimes. So we set the practice schedule, and in some seasons, like winter season, it's nice. It's all PC games. So I figure out what PCs are for what game, what PCs are the others. I really have up to 28 PCs we can use. They're not dedicated gaming machines, but they can work as gaming machines. Other schools have to think about how many. If they only have like 8 machines, all right, well, Overwatch, you're going to practice these days. Rocket League, you're going to practice these days. I can have those practice at the same time. My Nintendo games, usually we go in the classrooms. We have a couple classrooms with 5 TVs on the wall, which is great. Hook up a switch to each TV. You can have up to 5 groups playing at once. I'm now switching into the PC lab for this spring season because we got Mario Kart and Rivals going on. So I'm going to have them play on monitors. I think that's going to work pretty well. So winter season, we set up our schedule. We had an Overwatch team. I had enough to play with that and some backups. And I had my Rocket League team now. I'm going to go into detail about how we did Rocket League because that's kind of the focus on this. So I know I had 3 returning kids from last season. Actually, last season we won the state championship for the big school division, but 2 of those players, and for those who don't know, you need at least 3 to play Rocket League. 2 of those were graduating seniors. I have one kid who came back. He was a sophomore last year, junior this year. And I had 2 freshmen that were on the team last year. They didn't get to compete in the games because, again, I had a team of 3. They cleaned house and won the state championship. But I had the other 2 practicing with them to learn some things, learning how we communicate, how we played things differently, because those 2 had played a lot as duos. I wanted them to play it. They have to play as a trio now. So I knew I had my 3 players, so I talked with them. All right, what's your availability? What can we do? We had some availability issues, so our practice schedule was not as set as I wanted it to be. But we still had our days we were going to practice. We'd come in, they would play, but we talked through things. They're not just playing a match and then going home. They're playing a match. They're talking about skills that they each can work on. We're listening to the communication. We're talking about the rotation because rotation is very important. We're talking about all the little things we can start working on as a team and as individuals. And so we practice those days, but also because it's esports, they can practice outside of school. And they did. They oftentimes practice a lot outside of school. And then we get to the season. Now, in Iowa High School Sports Association, we have an 8-week season, but you only play 7 games. Part of that is so you have that kind of week for makeup matches, especially in the wintertime, because weather, we're in Iowa. We get snow days. And yeah, our first game was delayed due to snow. And so we already knew we were going to have to make that day up. And we lost our first match of the season before winter break. We were playing Waterloo East, who was the number 1 team in our subdivision at the end of the season. So we went into winter break 0-1. We only were supposed to have 2 games before, and we have 1 game rescheduled. We come back from winter break and we lose our next match. So we start the season 0-2. And that can be very defeating for a team. It can really hit their confidence. They can start maybe blaming each other, but we focused on that. We focused on how to play as a team, how to improve. Luckily for us, our next week was a much easier opponent, and we get to 1-2. And actually, we end up winning the next 4 games. So we end up at 4-2 after starting 0-2. So we're 4-2, feeling good about ourselves. We're looking ahead to the playoffs. I'm like, hey guys, week 7 or the last game of the match of the season, you win, you're in the playoffs. You get to 5-2, you're guaranteed in the playoffs. There's no way we can miss. Unfortunately, we were playing Marshalltown, team who's knocked us out of the playoffs before in other sports, and they knocked us out. We lost to them. They beat us, I'll say. They beat us, and we get to 4-3. Now, I'm very worried because I go home that night. I'm like, I told the kids, like, unless something happens, I think our season's done, but wait for a message from me. So I go home that night. I start looking at all the other games that have been played. And all of a sudden, in our subdivision, now, the way we set up big school, small school divisions, and then each division is broken up into 3 subdivisions. To make the playoffs, the top 4 teams from each subdivision will make it to the playoffs. Top 4 teams overall in that division go automatically to the in-person state tournament. The other 8, they will play a 1-week online playoff game. And just our luck, there was a 5-way tie at 4-3. The first tiebreaker, of course, is match win percentage. We're all 4-3. We all have the same. The second tiebreaker is game win percentage. Because we play the best of 5, you could win 3-0, 3-2, 3-1. You can lose 2-3, 1-3, 0-3. Luckily for us, we had the second best gaming win percentage. So even though we were 4-3, we get into the online playoffs, which is a 1 week match. You have to win or you go home or stay home, I guess. But we were also the worst record getting in. So we were the 12 seed playing the 5 seed. But looking at the 5 seed, we watched their matches. So I sent footage to the team. We talked over it. We looked up the stats of the different players that we were playing. And we can see that we had one really good player who's scoring almost all of the goals for the other team and two other players. And that can happen oftentimes, especially if you don't have a lot of depth to your team. So our strategy, we had a strategy. Believe it or not, there's strategy in esports. Our strategy was to focus on that one and then making sure that our rotations were deeper because that one player was taking shots all the time. So your rotations in Rocket League, you have a team of three versus three. It's soccer with cars. So typically you have two playing up, one playing back. So you kind of have a one, a two, and then a three. The problem is that if your three comes up too close to, like, say, the midfield line, and their team takes a shot, no one can get back and block it out before it hits in the goal. So we had to go and take our one and two. We're going to play normal, but our three was going to play farther back. And so we worked on that a little bit in matches before. And actually, the week of our playoff game, we had a practice with the college coach. Thank you, Coach Fish from Wartburg, who gave our team some much needed tips that they had. Again, that coach is much better at Rocket League than I am. He was able to see things that I wasn't seeing. He gave them some tips that they needed. So we play, we win. Again, now we're in the playoffs in the state tournament. It's 7-0. I mean, sorry. You have to best of seven. And we win 4-0. We win 4-0. We are into the in-person state tournament. The team is feeling great. I have a van reserved for the next week. The day of the state tournament is we have to drive to Marshalltown because luckily the league is working with Marshalltown Community School District, who owns a place called Orpheum Theater in Marshalltown, which has kind of like these two theater rooms. One is kind of like a little stage with a lot of seating that goes up, looks like a typical theater. The other one is kind of more of an open big space with like bleacher seats almost going up. And so what happens is that you have the theater and the black box. We have mostly played in the theater room. But on the walls of both of them, there's a big projector and it's showing the live stream of the matches so you can see what's going on. The Marshalltown Community College esports players do all the shoutcasting. All the matches are live streaming. I'll make sure I put the link in the description for this podcast so you can go watch them yourself. Um, so we get to the in-person state tournament. There's 8 teams competing. So you get to the first matches. We are playing right away at 8:15 a.m. We left Ames at 6:45 a.m. A day they didn't have school. Sorry, normally they get out of school for this. And we get there and we are playing the number 1 seed because we were the 12th seed, right? So we end up playing Waukee Northwest, the team I knew was really good, team that we beat the previous year to get to the state championship. So they come in and they beat us. But it's not too bad of a loss. I know they beat us 4-0, but each of those games, I thought we had a little something there. Like we weren't that far off. We weren't that far away to being very competitive. So the team was still feeling good. And, it's a loss. You're going to feel bad. We dropped to the consolation bracket. You kind of have to lose twice to lose to get sent home. So we dropped in the consolation bracket and we're like, all right, we regroup. We talk through what we're going to do. I tell them, go find a spot, relax, get some energy in you. I go and hand them some Skittles because that's the secret energy source of our team. And we go into the match and we win. And we win 4-1. So now we are on to the next round. We have to win 2 more times to get to third place title. And the next opponent from us is Waukee. Waukee, I thought, was a pretty good team. Thought we had a good chance against them. But more importantly, I just thought it was a very even matchup. So we focused on what we could focus on. We looked at some of the footage from earlier in the day. We had lunch, so the kids had time to kind of calm down, clear their heads, and come back. Fortunately, Waukee was so late getting done with the previous match. By the time they got back for lunch, everybody started for like 30 minutes. So we win game 1. They then win the next 3. So we are down 3-1, best of 7. So if they win the next game, it's over for us. And at that point, a team could easily fall apart, feel very down, and shut down, and just not play good. Our team, they had it in them. They were gutsy, and we win. So now it's 3-2. We win again. It's 3-3. So we're coming back now from 3-1, tied up to 3, get to game 7. Not only that, game 7 goes into overtime at 0-0. And so at this point, to kind of set the stage for you, we're in this room. There's no other matches going on in the building. everybody's coming to this room. They're all the parents for the other teams, the parents and grandparents for our team. A couple of grandmas were there for one player that made sure to thank me a lot for what I was doing. So, hey, that was my highlight of the day. I always love hearing from parents and that they're so grateful for everything that we do. But this room is full of people. You can hear the shoutcaster going, the Marshalltown Community College esports player. Um, and one of the other teams there had some other kids in the stands that were just loud the whole time for their own team, but now they're loud for us. We became almost a crowd favorite. And I'm sitting there and you just feel the energy because it's overtime, game 7, 0-0. We did lose, which is unfortunate, but the team didn't just get down the dumps. I mean, they were invested in that. I mean, all of our heart rates were very high. And yeah, when they lost 1 pound on the table, that's okay. That's passion. That's what I want. I want them to be invested in the game. Afterwards, we were driving home. Um, they weren't down in the dumps. They were watching the live streams. They were talking about things they could work at. They were enjoying the shoutcasters talking about all the good things that were going on for them. We get home and we're already talking about next year. I'm like, I get you all for another year. One player's going to be a senior. You two are going to be juniors. We got to get these other kids to be better to be your backups. We're going to be great. We're going to get the state championship next year. And that's where we end. Like I normally end every season with a pizza party so we can celebrate the positives. We talk about things going on, especially we got a lot of seniors involved. We actually had our pizza party early in the week just because of schedules. But we always celebrate the season. No matter what, they got to have fun. We grow as a team. Our Overwatch team ended up 2-5, but they're almost all new players to our team. And there was a lot of growth on there. And so I have a lot of hope for next year. But we end the season looking ahead. And already I'm in the next season. There's really no downtime for us because we just, as soon as we finish the next day, we finish on Friday. That Tuesday, the next week, I'm at practice for our next season. But that's kind of how our season goes. So we have 7 regular season matches. We have an online playoff, in-person state tournament. In-person state tournament is awesome because you got colleges there, recruiting. You have all the other kids there. They get to talk to each other, kids they know. It's a great environment. And they get to celebrate being part of a team, competing, and that's so much more than play video games. There's so many positives that can come out of esports. And if you listen to any episode this season of this podcast, you're going to hear that. There's so many positives to doing esports in high school, in college. I fully believe esports needs to happen at every high school in the country. We got to make it happen because there are opportunities for kids that aren't available without putting this program in place. There are opportunities there for kids, not just colleges, career paths, but just also becoming part of a team. Maybe they aren't otherwise. They're not going out for sports or other things, but now they can be part of a team. They're going to make friendships. Esports, we're open to everybody. Pick up a controller, get your keyboard and mouse. Let's go play, be part of our team. So I hope you enjoyed this season of Esports Classroom Podcast. I'm going to be back probably in a month or so. We're going to take a little bit more focus on some of the issues. But I want to share out more stories because there's so many great stories out there about Scholastic Esports. So thank you for listening, and I will see you next season.